anything else I find interesting. This is a spoiler warning for the 2004 movie and video game Van Helsing. Movie tie-in games are a weird breed. Some defy the odds and become classics, others should have been left buried. Released in 2004 for the PlayStation 2, the Xbox, and the Game Boy Advance, Van Helsing was developed by Sapphire and published by Veneti Universal Games. Now, if you don't remember Sapphire, you're probably not alone. They were the minds behind a handful of licensed titles before quickly vanishing into the night. Sapphire was founded back in '93, working mostly on Nintendo games, and also exclusively Game Boy Advance games from 2000 to 2004. But they did work on some household names like StarCraft, Oddworld, Rainbow Six, Legos, Hot Wheels, and The Hobbit. Sapphire would go under in 2007. Vivendi might be a name a little more recognizable. They had their fingers in many pies, like Fox, Universal, Blizzard, and High Noon, Blizzard being a subsidiary of Venvedi. In 2008, Activision merged with Venvedi, being renamed Activision Blizzard. Now, I have spent more time talking about these companies because I could find nothing on the dev cycle, and even the IMDb shows nothing for its production. The game follows the plot of the movie, loosely. You play as Van Helsing, the Vatican's personal demon slayer, on a quest to take down Dracula. It's a third-person action-adventure game that seems to be heavily inspired by Devil May Cry. But does it reach those same heights? Game starts in 1887. Van Helsing is pursuing Mr. Hyde after he had murdered several women, men, children, goats, and poultry. Hyde is using the attic of Notre Dame as a hideout. Mr. Hyde teases Helsing as he's chasing his memories. The fight ends the same way as in the movie. Hyde falls off the building after Helsing grapple hooks him. After this, I get a score pretty much like Devil May Cry. One thing I find interesting is finish with hat on. So in combat, you can lose your hat with the option to retrieve it and put it back on. If you finish all the missions with your hat on, you unlock more secrets and cheats. I don't really understand why, but I kind of like this. After the events with Mr. Hyde, Helsing is sent to Transylvania, where the story starts to stray a little bit more away from the movie. And I'm just going to treat this as a parallel universe. Told that 450 years ago, a knight named Valeris had a son who committed a great evil. This man's name, Dracula. I think I said that right. This led to a curse being placed on Valeris' family where their souls would not be allowed into heaven until the vampire curse had been wiped out. 9 generations have passed, and they are down to their last descendant, Princess Anna. The church tells Helsing that this could also help him rediscover his path. There are 12 missions. At the beginning of each of them, we get this little blurb that is read by the priest that sent Helsing here, normally giving you a general idea where to go next. Getting off the train, Helsing sees Valeris' ghost watching him as it floats away. There are a few notable things here at the train station. This door with the red symbol on it are breakable if you have the right things, sometimes a specific gun or a power-up. These are where you find the game's cheats. I didn't unlock all of them, but they are mostly cosmetic things like making Helsing's head big or turning him to solid metal. These are all over the place, and you'll see me have a few different on from time to time, just messing about. Outside the town of Transylvania, we are accosted by skeletons brought back to life. Making it into the town, more skeletons rise. Working our way through the village, we find a fountain where we discover a large pale man with this robe. This powerful man attacks us, which leads to a boss battle.
You there? You all right? Are you hurt, sir?
After defeating this mysterious man, he escapes by jumping on nearby buildings. Pushing on, we come to a well where gargoyles come to life and attack. These are interesting because it is the first of the creatures that I notice have a strength and weakness. Later on, we'll get a crossbow, and the bolts will bounce off any stone monsters that we come across. Using the shotgun here is the most effective way to take care of them. I always like resistance and weakness systems in games forcing me to change tactics, and I really was not expecting it in this. Fighting through the living statues, we make it to the church where the brides of Dracula are toying with the Princess Anna herself. Ignore the fact that they are ghosts right now. I have one of those cheats on, making them transparent.
Unhand the lady.
Trust me. There is nothing ladylike about him.
The three brides of Dracula address Van Helsing as if they knew him well, leaving him confused as he has no recollection. After defeating one of the women, bride named Verona, Anna awakens. She guides Helsing to the library where Velkin was studying Dracula before he was turned into a werewolf. Looking through these shelves, we find some references to a family called Belmont, which is a fun reference to Castlevania, and the killing of a pharaoh, which seems to be a callback to the movie The Mummy. These are fun little Easter eggs to find, but not what we're looking for. Find out one of these shelves is a door and find ourselves in an old mausoleum. Valeris's ghost is again here, seemingly showing us the way, but the gate is locked, and we are attacked. To the right of the gate is a statue saying that it has a button but you can't reach it because the hole is too small and the button is too far back. I recently picked up the crossbow and I just shot it in frustration and it unlocked the gate. I love this. Every weapon in the game has some sort of utility and you have to swap and shoot things to progress. Getting through the gate, we climb a waterfall. Getting to the top, I have a moment of confusion not knowing how to get to the next ledge. This is where I begin to realize how many things can be inspected or interacted with, like the statues all around this pillar all have a description, as well as the one on top leading me to believe that it can be hit and broken to make a bridge. After this, I started running up to random things just seeing what the description was. Getting to the summit, I fell, realizing that this whole mountain is one thing even though it has loading screens, and I'm knocked back to the bottom and have to run all the way back up. The ghost of Valeris begins to speak to Helsing before being swatted away by Igor. Igor wants to capture you and bring you to Dracula. Before we can finish him off, a werewolf appears and Igor slips away. We follow the tracks of the wolf back to town where we face him off, realizing he is Prince Velkin. Velkin is now at the will of Dracula and must be stopped. After defeating Velkin's wolf form, he reverts to human to inform Van Helsing of the true monster in this area, Dracula.
Run! Run for your life while you still can!
I run from no one.
Then kill me, please, before I kill you.
I'm a monster hunter, not a murderer.
There is only one true monster in this country.
And transforms back to a werewolf and escapes, Helsing chasing him. I haven't brought it up yet, but many of the actors from the film lent their voices to the characters in the game as well. A few being Hugh Jackman as Helsing, Richard Roxburgh as Dracula, Will Kepp as Velkin, and Kevin O'Connor as Igor. Van Helsing is on his way to Castle Frankenstein to pursue Velkin. In the depths of the castle, Van Helsing discovers Dracula's plans have produced numerous vampire offspring, but he pushes into the castle. Top of one of the towers, Dracula greets Van Helsing as an ancient friend, addressing him as Gabriel, suggesting that he killed Dracula, setting him on his path over 4 centuries ago.
And I will.
I'm sorry. Didn't anyone tell you? I'm already dead. Murdered 4.5 centuries ago. Any idea who could have committed the crime? Gabriel? You don't remember, do you? You don't even remember your name.
You don't know who I am. You could have picked any name.
True. I could have. But you have no way of knowing that. Do you?
Perhaps I don't need to know.
Perhaps not. Then again, no one can run from their past, Gabriel. You must face the truth. You are a murderer.
No, Dracula, I'm not a murderer. A monster hunter.
Dracula continues to tell how Van Helsing had betrayed him for love so long ago. During the fight, Van Helsing is carried away by the children he encountered earlier by order of Dracula and dropped into the caverns. In the caverns under Castle Frankenstein, Van Helsing discovers the robed man that was at the fountain in the town square we had fought earlier. This turns out to be Frankenstein's monster. Dracula is using the method Dr. Frankenstein used to create the monster to give permanent life to his offspring. Otherwise, they cannot sustain and expire quickly after birth. While talking, they are discovered by Velkin, and Helsing pursues. Escaping the caverns and tracking down the werewolf Velkin, Van Helsing emerges into a courtyard of the castle and fights Velkin in his werewolf form again. After presumably defeating Velkin by him falling down a ravine, Van Helsing crosses the bridge as Anna is carried by a bride further into the castle. After venturing into the castle further, chasing the bride, Van Helsing meets Dracula holding Anna hostage in exchange for the Frankenstein monster. Van Helsing declines and Dracula throws Anna into a teleporter and fights Helsing once more. During the fight, Dracula is about to transform into his vampire form but is interrupted by the monster tossing large debris. Castle Frankenstein begins falling apart quickly, prompting Helsing to escape. After arriving at the main courtyard, Anna greets Van Helsing with a horse-drawn carriage with the aim to flee the castle. They are pursued by the bride. After Helsing's carriage is attacked, he abandons it off a cliff, and the brides follow it down to reveal it was only disguising an improvised vampire killing bomb, not the monster. The bomb kills Marischka, the second bride of Dracula. Prior to ditching his carriage, Helsing jumped to Anna's, but a fallen tree in the path forced them to abandon that as well. Anna is grabbed by the remaining bride while Velkin has come back for Helsing for a final fight. After defeating Velkin's werewolf form yet again, he informs Helsing of the location of Igor. After sharing this information, Velkin makes one less attack on Helsing, transferring his lycanthropy, then dying.
Velkin, you have done me a great service. You have freed me from my suffering. That path will lead you to the Hunchback. You must find him. You must go to Castle Dracula. Wait, there is one more thing.
After pursuing Igor through the forest for the portal key to Castle Dracula and finally encountering him, Van Helsing is approached again by the ghost of Valeris.
Well done, Gabriel.
You too call me Gabriel.
I call you by your name. Time runs short. Go. Destroy the vampire before it's too late.
Now in the realm of Dracula's castle, Van Helsing delves deeper, finding Anna bound to a cross. After freeing her, she realizes Van Helsing has been bitten and her brother killed. The reunion is cut short by the roof collapsing on them, opening the floor below. After continuing deep into the icy realm of Dracula's castle, he encounters the final bride of Dracula. She states that she's been waiting over 400 years for the moment to kill him. Van Helsing defeats the final bride of Dracula, Alira, with a silver stake through her heart. This fight was brutal. A lot of, well, that was bullshit, then I died. At the top of the tower in Dracula's castle, Van Helsing finds the Frankenstein monster attached to a mechanism acting as a generator to give life to Dracula's offspring. After freeing him, Van Helsing descends the tower and Dracula is there waiting for him, calling Helsing Gabriel, then transforming into his demon form.
Gabriel, so nice of you to drop in. May I give you a hand?
Or vampire form. They always have them labeled as demon, but they're just vampires, I thought. I don't know. After defeating Dracula, we still lose, we're only a man after all, but at midnight, Van Helsing transforms into a werewolf.
I suppose this means goodbye. You didn't actually think I would let you kill me again, did you? Your time is up, my ancient friend. How does it feel to know you will die a murderer?
I'm no longer that man, Dracula.
No, this is not right. This cannot be. Wait, don't you understand? We are brothers, you and I. Part of the same grand order. You were being used, Gabriel. As was I. But I escaped. And so can you. Join me, and I will give all your memories back.
Some things are best left forgotten.
Striking fear into Dracula even in his monstrous form. After killing Dracula as a werewolf, Anna attempts to cure him, but is stricken down and killed in the process, reverting him to human form. Van Helsing blames himself for her death. He watches her soul leave, and all I really care about is I cannot believe they just stole this epic fight from me. So, the combat isn't bad. It's kind of stiff. The game gives you a solid arsenal, a shotgun, crossbow, the electric gun, and of course, the famous Tojo blades, which are fun. But while the weapons look cool, they don't always feel great to use. But credit where credit is due. This game nails the gothic horror atmosphere. The levels look great for their time, with dark, brooding environments ripped straight out of the movie. But, and this is a big but, the level designs itself are painfully linear. Lots of corridors, lots of locked doors, lots of repetitive enemy encounters. And then there are the puzzles. You know, kind of. Find the key, pull the lever, move on. They just kind of exist to slow you down, not really challenge you. Now, if there is one thing that Van Helsing does right, it's the boss fights. You go toe-to-toe with some of the movie's big bads, including Mr. Hyde, the werewolves, and of course Dracula himself. Other than the last fight, where they just completely ripped away the killing blow, and I'm not okay with it. But fair warning, most of these fights are straight up unfair. Expect some clunky mechanics, cheap attacks, and occasionally the "why did I just die" moment. So, Van Helsing, is it worth playing? Well, kinda. If you're a fan of the movie or just love gothic horror action games, there's some fun to be had here. But I wouldn't go in expecting a hidden gem. It's more like a forgotten relic. It's cool to look at, and I'd rather play this than DMC2. Final verdict, not terrible, not great. It's a little decent time capsule from an era of movie tie-in games. What do you guys think? Did you ever play this game? Are you just now discovering it? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy this trip down memory lane, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss out on any future deep dives into weird forgotten games. If you'd like to help outside of YouTube, there is a Patreon link below where you can support for as low as $1 a month and you get your name at the end credits. And there's also a G2A link for some discounted games for you guys. With all of that, remember to stretch those wings. They'll take you somewhere someday. I'll catch you in the next one. What if Halo, Underworld, and the outlaw Josie Wales, as well as Hugh Jackman's Van Helsing movie, had a baby? And then that quartet of lovers abandoned that baby, and that baby grew up to have a Playboy spread. That blood-sucking, leather-wearing, gun-toting, spur-jingling love child would be Darkwatch. Hey there, I am the Archie Angel. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're returning, thank you for your continued support. I will be playing the 2005's Darkwatch as a casual player. I'm going to try a little bit different style today and do a little bit more storytelling. This is a spoiler warning for Darkwatch.
Evil as old as time spreads like a plague, corrupting the hearts of men. For millennia, there have been those who have stood against it, a secret organization to protect mankind. They are the front line in an unholy war. They are the Dark Watch.
Dark Watch is a first-person shooter from 2005, developed by High Moon Studios. If that name rings a bell, well, they have developed a few titles that you've probably heard of, like the 2013 Deadpool game, Destiny 1 and 2, and every COD since 2014, since they were bought by Activision in 2008. Dark Watch was their first project into the video gaming world, though, wanting to bring something new to the sci-fi military theme, taking inspiration from Blade, Halo, Time Splitters, and Metal Slug. Both the PlayStation 2 and Xbox versions of the game were developed side by side. There were thoughts of a GameCube port, but the creative director didn't see any market for it there. Well, we all know how long the GameCube lasted, so that was some great foresight. High Moon was even able to get the license for the main theme of the good, the bad, and the ugly, remixing it to fit the darker feel of the game. Dark Watch was announced in early 2004 and slated to come out in late 2004. The game ended up getting put on ice shortly after, as High Moon was looking for a publisher, which they found in two global titans, Capcom for the US and Ubisoft for Australia and Europe. I feel like it would be a disservice to the game to forget about the huge marketing plan of getting your female protagonist a Playboy spread, along with some fake interviews. I 100% remember seeing this under my mother's bed as a kid. After the opening cinematic, we're brought to the home screen, and good God, is this music just perfect. Listen. I'm a sucker for a cowboy movie, and the good, the bad, and the ugly theme shines through, and it is perfectly darkened and corrupted. Creating a new profile, we have a scrolling text telling us we are Jericho Cross, gunslinger, renegade, outlaw, with a long history of violence, and tonight our life ends, and our legend begins. We see Jericho, a rough-and desperado, preparing to board the train. He climbs aboard and enters the train with no issues. Now I just need to fight my way to the treasure car, blow the safe, and make off like the bandit I am. This first area is a tutorial area, forcing Jericho to jump, crouch, and move. HUD is simple enough. Top left health, top right ammo, left stick moves, right stick aims, L3 crouch, R3 aim in, square to melee, triangle to jump, circle to reload, R1 to shoot, R2 to activate vampire powers, L1 for thrown items, and L2 to cycle through vampire powers. Left and right on the D-pad has this lean feature, which I found myself never using. Up on the D-pad is cycle through throwing weapons, and down on the D-pad cycles through the guns. You can hold two firearms at once. There are a total of 7 firearms in the entire game, as well as 2 different types of throwables. Through the tutorial, we see that something horrible has happened. There are dead bodies everywhere, and the train was heavily armed. Equipped with my trusty 6-shooter, I pressed on, coming upon this unsettling sight of a horse still half alive yet torn to bits. This little interaction made me jump. I was not prepared for the horse to move. I also love the amount of detail they put on how gruesomely these bodies have been dismembered. The horror aspect of the game is doing its job. The next car is a freezer car with hanging meat, but there is some meat that's still warm. Walking up to a skeletal creature with its face buried in this man's torso. It notices me and jumps up, wielding 2 sickles and its glowing eyes. It runs me down, hungry for a second meal. So my biggest complaint already, and will probably be the biggest one throughout the entire game, is the aiming. I'm not sure if it's because I'm emulating the game, or there is some just natural delay from the game. or if the game really does just have really odd dead zones. I ended up turning my sensitivity down to like 1 or 2, and this helped, but it was an ongoing problem. I really liked at the beginning of the game that the 6-shooter is the gun you have. The first encounter, I felt frantic as Jericho fingered rounds into his gun, and I'm thinking faster, faster, faster. This fiend from hell almost ripped me apart as I frantically tried to reload my revolver. I dispatched 2 more of these Reapers, and a man badly injured stumbles into the car, telling me to take his pistol, then falls to the ground dead. I hastily pick up his sidearm, the Redeemer. This gun is some amazing engineering, having 18 rounds and a hammer that can be fanned, as well as a bladed hilt for close combat. All of the designs of the guns have this steampunk feel. Like I said in the beginning, it reminds me a lot of Hugh Jackman's Van Helsing movie. It's all very cool. I like all of the guns, although I try to stay away from the precision rifles, mostly just because that the aiming was such a problem. I reach the vault and prepare to blow it, when I am ambushed by a woman in black, but it's too late. The dynamite explodes. What have I done?
Sweet mercy, what have you done? Oh my god.
Lazarus is voiced by Keith Sazerbach, who worked on projects like Dead Space, Fallout New Vegas, Halo 4. Hell, he's the voice for Harbinger in Mass Effect 2, as well as being in movies and shows like Angel, Argo, and The Dark Knight. This hulking monster jumped the lady in black, so I opened fire, just for him to turn his ire towards me. When I wake up, I am lightheaded and thirsty. The lady in black tells me that I am becoming a vampire. She says I can feed on these blood clots to heal myself and sate my hunger. But I also feel more powerful. We chase the monster to the top of the train cars, but he is too powerful. We turn to run. The woman in black tells me her name is Cassidy Sharp. Cassidy is voiced by none other than Jennifer Hale. Yeah, check out Dark Alliance video if you want to hear more about her, but yeah, it's just... yeah. Cassidy names the monster as Lazarus, and he is on our asses. I think quickly and shoot some TNT separating the train cars. Cassidy leads me to a stable car asking if I can ride, but the hunger takes over. I leap upon the black stallion she was leading out, draining it dry. Cass tells me it's not my fault. It's all part of Lazarus's curse, but I feel bad for the creature. When it begins to stir, rising to undeath, my steed, my shadow. We leap upon our mounts, riding like the wind away from the vampire lord. Cass says there's a Dark Watch outpost not far, but the desert is full of unnamed corpses, and they begin to rise and pursue us. The riding guns section is actually done pretty well. At this point of the game, it's pretty obvious that it's an arcade shooter, so giving me the horse seems like an odd thing to do. You get some mobility, speeding up, slowing down, as well being able to move side to side. Shadow is undead, so you can use him as a shield leaning from side to side. This is very cinematic, and it seems to flow decently. Wave after wave of undead riders fall until the gray-skinned bloodsucker, who has somehow grown wings, is caught up to us, shooting fireballs and dropping lightning in his wake, before opening a dimensional door and fleeing. This fight reminds me a lot of like a House of Living Dead arcade games. Cass says that there's a secret passage under the old church, but a cemetery ain't no place you want to be when the dead walk the earth. The evil of Lazarus begins to summon long dead gunslingers from the nearby graves, and they are just as deadly as they were in life. After thinning out some of the ranks of the undead, a twisted yet living dead tree emerges from the ground. Cass explains that these are marks of evil, and because I am now have Lazarus's blood, I am able to destroy them. Everything in this game, when it comes to visuals, is really good at giving that grim, dark underbelly feeling, the nasty, dark fantasy, and I'm really loving it. I found some sticks of dynamite, so I make quick work of these pillars of evil. It explodes, sending a shockwave, wiping out any undead in the area. We are safe, for the moment. We open up the crypt, and Cass says it's too dark for her, but she will meet me on the other side. So I head down. I find many shriveled corpses not inside resting tombs. These must be Dark Watch members that were unable to make it back. I find a shotgun on one of these corpses and I arm myself. What? Was that a woman? Ah. I press on. I need to get to the other side. And a cure. Deep inside the crypt, I find a large mausoleum, where I discover I can jump to new heights. With all the exits blocked, reapers begin to pour in. I fight, and fight through the fodder. When the ghostly women from earlier reappear with her sisters, they begin screaming so loud that it comes at me at bursts of power. These banshees are tough, but still no match for the vampire I am becoming. I find my way out of the crypt, right into another graveyard. The passage must be somewhere nearby. I stand my ground as more waves of monsters swarm me until I have a moment of peace, and I catch a scent. The smell of innocent blood. This woman has been bitten by Lazarus as well. I feel the thirst welling inside of me, but I instinctually understand that I can save her soul. These small choices have no real impact on the story, they just decide which vampire abilities you get. There are also some trapped souls, or what they call, you can choose to free or consume. The light side gets silver bullets, fear, armor, and a lightning storm, while the dark side gets blood frenzy, turn, black shroud, and soul stealer. Light side being more defensive and dark side being more offensive. I did light side for this playthrough. I purge her soul and find myself stronger, being equipped with silver bullets from time to time. More hordes come out, but I am the righteous hand of God, and they fall before me. Cass meets me in the nearby cave and begins to move the altar, hiding the exit. The cross! It burns!
The cross. The curse. It's taken hold. We've got to get you to the Dark Watch outpost.
The cross burns you because you are weak. You have been chosen. In time you will know why. Until then, you suffer.
Holy fuck. I just mean, that was that was unexpected. Oh, and he just throws her damn body down after me. Jesus Christ, this is dark. Sorry. Back back to character. Cassidy's body is still warm, and Lazarus's voice is thundering in my skull, but I must resist. Lazarus mocks me. But I must find a way out of this mind and to the Dark Watch. The mine is grueling. The bodies of long-dead miners rise up to stop my forward motion. Some carrying kegs of explosive, caring nothing for their lives of